Moving to another question, and we seem to be having a North American feel at the moment for some of the questions. The next one comes from Canada. So we move from the US to Canada, and it comes from Shahzad Mahmood Saab. And he actually works in a hospital, Dr. Saab, in Canada. And it's about administering anesthesia to patients, basically. But his is a quite specific one. He has to administer it at times where the patient is actually there because a pregnancy is being terminated. He's asking a moral question somewhat of what should I do?
Well, as far as this concept of abortion or the teachings that we know at Islam has regarding this, it's important to understand those first perhaps before we answer his question. Islam condones that you should preserve life at all costs and in all situations, and even a fetus is an unborn living thing, so we have to obviously preserve life when we can. The Holy Quran just does mention slaying of your children for fear of poverty. So there is a clue in that, that of course abortion is not permitted for this particular reason especially. But what we also have to realize is there may be certain situations where permission can be granted. For instance, if the life of the mother who is carrying the child is at threat, and medical opinion is that if the pregnancy is allowed to continue, then the mother will die. So in order to preserve the higher life over the lower life, then aborting the fetus is permitted in that respect. Also, if medical tests, and they are very advanced now, indeed, they show that if the fetus is allowed to continue, then either it will be a stillbirth or that there will be so much physical disabilities that the child will not be able to survive without support systems, then in that respect also the decision can be taken. However, what Shahzad is perhaps asking is about unwanted pregnancies, because this is what in the West that we find. And this is a moral dilemma that he faces. There are two or three things that we need to understand. Is that Shahzad is an anesthetist, and he is obviously not the one who is carrying out the abortion. The gynecologist will be the person who will obviously carry that out. But he perhaps feels that he becomes part of this operation, because without him the operation would not go ahead. If it's a very early pregnancy, then that can be aborted through medication only, and therefore there would be no need for an anesthetist or for an operation in that respect. So that is something that they could consider. However, if he feels that as an anesthetist, and it's a very highly skilled job as an anesthetist, because not only do you send the patient to sleep, you're supposed to wake them up at the end of that as well. So if this moral dilemma is in his mind, then he may not be able to fully do justice to the duty that has been entrusted upon him. So the answer here I can give from him from what happens in the UK, and may well also be a case in Canada and the States, is that here gynecologists and anesthetists have got an option. If morally they find that they do not wish to carry out or be part of the abortion, then they can certainly state that, and the authorities and the hospital trusts will allow them to be excused from this. So this is the best option that he should use if it's available, that he should not become a part of that and excuse himself morally. And in England, when this option is given, it is many non-Muslims who make use of this, and they excuse themselves from being part of the abortion process in that respect.
Jazakallah, Dr. Saab. And Shahzad, I think it is very much a question of moral judgment, but in Canada being the multicultural, and indeed it's a society which is very respectful to all faiths, Islam included. And I think in Dr. Saab's answer you probably have a solution to what is in effect an issue of moral dilemmas rather than a specific issue on religious etiquette or an act here. But if there are any questions you have, Shahzad, from Dr. Saab's answers, please do email in.